The Seahawks walked off the field in Green Bay with one word hanging over them: disappointment. One loss in the preseason doesn't end your year, but this one left a sour taste in the mouth of every fan watching. The record sits at 1-1-1, but this game felt different. It wasn't about the score. It was about missed chances, wasted opportunities, and one player who let the moment slip through his fingers, literally. This was supposed to be the night for Jalen Milroe. The training wheels were off. The stage was set. Fans were ready to see him unleashed, to finally prove why so many believed he could be Seattle's hidden gem. But instead of seizing his moment, Milroe stumbled. His numbers on paper don't tell the full story. 13 of 24 for 148 yards and a touchdown looks average, even passable. But behind the box score? 3 fumbles. 3 careless, costly mistakes that crushed momentum and handed Green Bay extra life. It wasn't just the turnovers, it was how they happened. One strip came after a fresh first down, a moment where the offense had rhythm, where all Milroe had to do was protect the ball. Instead, he let the Packers rip it out like candy on Halloween. That's not just a mistake. That's a breakdown in focus, a lack of discipline, the kind of thing coaches can't forgive when roster spots are on the line. Tonight was supposed to be a step forward. Instead, Milroe slid backward. But not everyone disappointed. If Milroe looked lost, Jack Wright looked like a spark waiting to ignite. His stat line won't jump off the page, just 5 carries, but 65 yards at 13 yards a pop tells the real story. One run in particular showed his vision and explosiveness, bursting through a crease the offensive line carved open and cutting into the defense like a hot knife through butter. Wright ran hungry. He ran with intent. He looked like a player desperate to prove he belongs. That's the difference tonight. Milroe wasted his chance. Wright demanded another one. Wright might not make the 53-man roster, but man, he left a mark in this preseason. When you watched him run, you didn't just see a depth guy, you saw a fighter, someone refusing to waste his shot. The reality is harsh. Seattle's running back room is already crowded, and it's hard to see him sneaking onto the final roster. But here's where it gets interesting. If he clears waivers, Wright could be one of those practice squad gems every good team keeps tucked away. And in Seattle, that's not just a luxury, it's a necessity. Let's be real, Kenneth Walker has already missed time this year with injuries. We know his explosiveness is elite, but availability has been an issue. Zach Charbonnet hasn't been hurt yet, but we can't pretend running backs stay clean for long in this league. And George Holani? He's flashed real potential, but like everyone else, he's just one play away from the sideline. That's why Wright's performance mattered. He showed he's more than just a body. He's a runner who can break free in space, catch passes out of the backfield, and do the dirty work in pass protection. That's not just talent. That's a team-first mentality, and his teammates noticed it. Now, while Wright was making the most of his chances, the offensive line behind him told a very different story. The first team guys mostly sat, but the second group? They struggled. Names like Jarrell, Luma, Haynes, Jones, and Knight all got their reps, and it didn't look sharp. Protection broke down, the run lanes weren't there, and honestly, it raised real questions about depth. That explains why Seattle quietly brought in Dalton Risner for a workout earlier this week. At first, that move didn't make sense. Why chase a veteran when you already drafted Christian Haynes and have Olu Oluwatimi ready to step up? Olu, if not for injuries, might have locked down a starting job already. He's got the size, the power, and the nastiness you want inside. But the Risner visit told us something important. This coaching staff isn't entirely confident in what they've got behind the starters. Risner has his flaws. Great in pass protection, shaky in the run game. But Seattle wouldn't even be looking if they didn't think the depth needed help. And if you watched that second unit tonight, you know exactly why. The truth is, Seattle's depth up front is a real concern. Against Green Bay, that second defensive line looked overwhelmed. Jalen Milroe was running for his life, and too many runs were stuffed before they even got started. The starters can't play every snap all season. No line stays perfectly healthy in the NFL. That's why depth matters, and right now, the Seahawks' backups aren't giving anyone much confidence. Players like Martinez and Jackardier Wright fought hard, turning broken plays into something positive, but the blocking just wasn't there. If Seattle wants to avoid disaster down the road, they may need to call Dalton Risner back or bring in a veteran once cuts are made around the league. The starters look solid. The backups? Not so much. But there was one silver lining: undrafted rookie Jared Ivey. Out of Ole Miss, he wasn't supposed to make noise. Instead, he made his presence felt all game long. 9 tackles, a quarterback hit, constant pressure in the backfield. He disrupted Green Bay's rhythm and showed the kind of hunger every coach dreams about in a young player. He wasn't just filling space, he was making plays. And that's the kind of surprise Seattle desperately needs as the roster takes shape. Seattle's depth on the line is shaky, but Ivy's rise might just be the spark this defense needs heading into the season. Seattle fans have to ask the question right now: is Jared Ivey forcing his way onto this roster? A week ago, he looked like a fringe guy, maybe the 52nd or 53rd name on the list. But after what he just did against Green Bay, forget that. He's climbing. He looks like a top 40 player on this team already, and he's just getting started. At 6'6", 270 pounds, he's a monster who's only going to grow stronger. He doesn't look scared. He doesn't look like a rookie trying to survive. He looks like a steal. The training wheels are off, and unlike so many young players, Ivy didn't stumble, he thrived. Seattle has to keep him. Even if it's just in run packages, even if he's not starting yet, this kid needs snaps right away. You can feel it. He's going to be a difference maker. And then there's Cody White. 3 catches. All of them huge. All of them in clutch moments. He shook defenders, broke tackles, and turned ordinary plays into highlights. The problem? Seattle's wide receiver room is loaded. Unless MVS gets traded, Cody might not fit into the final 5 or 6 spots. But one thing's clear: Cody White just played himself onto someone's roster, if not Seattle's. Practice squad, waiver claim, trade. He's not done in this league. Not even close. Both Ivy and White showed something tonight that you can't coach: hunger. The kind of hunger that forces a team to think twice before making a cut. And for Seattle, that's exactly the kind of problem you want to have. This one stings. Seattle just got punched in the mouth by the Packers, 20-7, and it never really felt close. Outside of one decent drive, the offense looked lost. Penalties, sacks, and fumbles kept killing momentum. Every time they started to show life, they shot themselves in the foot. On defense, there were flashes. Jared Ivey and Alfonso Tupatala brought some energy, crashing into the backfield with big stops. But if they weren't making a play, Green Bay was moving the ball almost at will. That's a problem. And while Malik Willis impressed on the Packers side, it exposed how shaky some of Seattle's backup defenders really are. Still, there were some bright spots. Drake Thomas showed toughness, and Alfonso Tupatala, the hometown kid from Federal Way and a former Husky, had a huge sack that looked like it meant something to him personally. Guys like that are fighting for practice squad spots, and they left everything on the field. But let's be real, this was an ugly loss. The kind that leaves a bad taste in your mouth. And yet, it's preseason. These games don't count, and John Schneider and Mike McDonald have a bigger plan in motion. Cuts are coming, moves are coming, and this roster is going to look different by the time the 49ers come to town. Seahawks fans, don't let this loss shake your confidence. The real test comes in 2 weeks, and when it does, this team better come out swinging.